Welcome back, guys. We are back. Push day going down, and we are going to get stuck straight into the session because I am actually itching to train. So no hanging about today. Short, sweet intro. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Show some love. Make sure you are boosting up the numbers. It's game time. Definitely feeling up for it, and it's going to be a great session as always. This is going to be a revised session that you haven't seen before because off the back of my deload, I have changed a few movements. Nothing really dramatic, just few subtle changes that will be shown within the session structure that I am looking forward to showing you. So, almost game time. Let's get it. Now, new piece of clover from Tricep by JP. Get on it. Kuba 10, you know the drill, you know the code. If you want to show me some love. Now, session layout for today. White race to begin with, cable fly as exercise number 2. Exercise number 3 will be incline dumbbell press. So a lot of those of you guys that always say, why do you not use free weights? Well, today I'm going to talk you through why I do not use them in some cases, and when I do use them, and when they are actually productive in doing so. So get strapped in, let's get after it. Game time.
Make a big difference.
So when it comes to pressing, you utilize your whole back to stabilize, right? So just putting a little bit of blood in there, it does allow for a little bit more comfort. Biggest limiting factor I see a lot of people pressing is to try to restrict the scapula, right? Try to just pin the shoulders back. It's not what you should do. As you go through a full range of motion, you need to allow some freedom of motion with your shoulders to allow your shoulders to come to slight depression as you're pressing through. And I feel like doing a pullover before just gives you a little bit more comfort as you are going to full retraction and as you are going to a deep end range when you're pressing. And then as you're pressing through, you don't actively want to think about pinning your shoulders back and down. As a reference point, keep your chest up in front of your shoulders, but as you're pressing through, you literally want to focus on driving your upper arm across rather than just doing this. So don't actively allow your shoulders to protract, but a little bit of shoulder movement is actually essential to fully complete a press. Just try not to overthink movements and try not to over-restrict anything whenever you're going to an exercise. I think over-restriction of any exercise or any movement leads to just poor execution, poor setup. Right, that one down. Big boy session. Big boy session. All the exercise we're going to, we never want to be slow. We want to be powerful with control. So one thing you'll notice here is I am specific with how I spend a little bit of time in that stretch just to take momentum out. But then as I drive through into concentric, I actually go as hard as I physically can while still maintaining proper form and control. This is what I see flawed in this day and age, is a lot of people try to train with good execution, but then they forget the intensity part, where the purpose of being slow. Don't be slow. Be powerful with intent, control, and good execution. You don't just need one or the other. You need both. Ranges for shoulder exercises. Generally, I like to sit in and around 12 to 15, even 20 reps when it comes to lateral work. And the main reason for that is, when it comes to laterals, it's so easy to just load things up. And then people notice elbow pain, even joint pain, from simply overloading laterals way too much. If you truly stay locked into any lateral variation and do it with strict form, good control, it's extremely hard to actually use a lot of load. So my preference is working slightly lower, slightly higher rep range, allowing you for lower loading, keeping your exercise execution on point. But also, I do feel like you get a lot more out of higher rep work for your delts. I do think that's a body part alongside of legs that specifically responds better to higher rep work for me personally. So if you're struggling with delts, try this out, get massive, one-on-one, beautiful work, game time.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful.
Oh! Right. That is the sort of hard reps you want to be doing. You want to make sure you try and stay as locked in as possible. Now, that last rep was still acceptable. It was probably a 2 to 5% decline in my, I would say, textbook execution, right? It was still acceptable, but it still allowed me to grind the extra rep. Meaning that both set number 1 and set number 2, it was a 1 rep up progression in my logbook. With my execution, it improved from last time, because last time I actually had 12 reps on both sets with a lot of these scrappier reps towards back end of the set. So today, I've not only taken a rep progression, but also a progression in my execution, which is huge. When it comes to using the logbook, be patient. Small progressions over time add up to tremendous amount of progress. Effort is king, guys, right now. Third set now. The goal here is getting anything above 15 reps. So I'm going to make sure I stay locked in, fight through the pain. The most common thing I see with a lot of people when it comes training, the most common thing I see with a lot of people when it comes to training hard, and I mean training legit hard, is when it starts to hurt, this is where a lot of people start to break down their execution. When it starts to hurt, that is when your set quite literally starts. Unfortunately, if you want to reach true mechanical failure, you have to fight through the pain. Adjusting your position, making the lift easier, screaming, throwing your whole body into it, just makes the lift easier. You need to stay locked into the set, maintain composure and your execution for that entire set. When you look at Jordan Peters, take his sets all the way, he will literally go bananas, but when you look at his body, look at his movement, nothing changes from rep 1 to rep 5. It's exactly the same, and that is when you truly take your sets all the way there. He doesn't start spazzing out on a machine, just changing everything he does just to get more reps. Stays locked in and he fights through the pain. More pain, more gain, right now. In an ideal world now, I need to hit 15 reps here. That's in an ideal world, right? So, I've done everything I could from a recovery standpoint. I'm hydrated, routine's been on point. There's no reason for me to not get 15 reps here. So we're gonna make that happen. What did I say? 15 reps. Exactly the goal. So generally, if you see any significant jumps in progression, you are not following true progressive overload. Progressive overload is slow. It's consistent. It's patient. It takes time. The progression you should be seeing is a rep progression here and there. It's 2 kilo added to your dumbbell press. It's a rep added here and there over blocks of 8 to 10 weeks. It's not jumps of 10, 15 pounds session. It's just not possible. If it was, we would all be as strong as Eddie Hall, and we're just not. Chest fly 101. As you get into your position, lift up your chest only. Chest stays up under the shoulders, lower back stays neutral. The easiest way to do that is contracting your glutes slightly. Get your pelvis in neutral position. Once you get the position right, then slight bend of the arm as you come to stretch. And as you are coming down and in, you'd want to focus on driving your upper arm across, focus on driving your bicep into your pec. This is the motion you want here. Would you want this? So you don't want to be hugging. You want to be driving your thumb across. That is the function of your pec. Is abduction, adduction of the Kuba. So in simple terms, moving your arm out to the side and in. And then obviously up and down slightly to a degree as well. So you want to mimic the function of your chest whenever you are going to any fly exercise. It's not a pressing motion. You're not doing this. You're doing this. One more warm-up set, then it's game time. The reason why I always take my time a little bit more warming up on pec flies, this is a very vulnerable position for you to be in, especially under some load. So generally, I do like to take the time a little bit more when it comes to warm-ups with any pec fly motions. The last thing you want to do is go into your heavy set and swing something down to just being rushed and unprepared. Take time. Preparation is key. Okay, that was a good set. See, towards the back end of the set, when it gets hard, when it starts to hurt, this is where your body will try and do everything in its power to make the lift easier, make it more efficient. That is the point where you have to stay locked in and stay true to what the goal is. The goal is as much tension on the muscle trying to target. So this is where you have to resist. Your body basically telling you that it needs to move it, but move it in a easier and a more efficient way. You want to put yourself in a position where the lift is always the hardest, and that is generally where you will get the most stimulus. So make it hard, not easy. Taking the hard way is always the best way. So be mindful of that. See, do you know when people online say that I just want to go in and, enjoy my training? I mean, for me, when you have a passion for something, like I do for bodybuilding training, would you not want to find out how things work? And would you not want to find a way to try and get more out of your process? It's kind of backward thinking for me. It's like a lot of people if say, oh, you should just go in and train hard and not overcomplicate it. But if you go in the gym and you have a deeper understanding of what you are doing and how and why, you will simply enjoy your sessions more because you get so much more out of your sessions. So that's just my take on it. And the thing is, when it comes to content as well, I try and help. And I find it quite embarrassing these days where people get online and say, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or you shouldn't be doing this. It's like, who cares what people do in the gym? I mean, everyone pays a membership. Someone's paying the membership, as long as they're respecting equipment, it shouldn't really matter to you what people do in the gym. It's up to them. Ultimately, people just need to stick to doing what they enjoy. And if that's doing a backward stance, leg extension on a cable, I literally do not care. As long as they're not damaging equipment or bothering other members, doesn't matter. Might take one-on-one. I'm just watching the Olympia, Samson winning, and just reminiscing on when he came down to train with us. And honestly, it could not happen to a better person. Samson is genuine, very, very genuine. Unlike some people, he's very, very genuine, which is amazing to see, and very well deserved. So, extremely happy for him, and extremely happy to see the standout make a return back to UK. Obviously Ryan Terry as well. She's epic. So what a time to be alive, right? In bodybuilding. It really is thriving. It's amazing to see as well. It really is.
And Chris is going to open.
And Chris is doing open. Mental. I think that broke the internet. Good business move. I mean, before he calls it a day, he's in shape, why not? Makes sense, really. Makes sense.
I think he can be second.
I think probably maybe second or third. Yeah. It'll be hard for him to beat Martin, but You just don't know. Mate, Chris is gonna be just as peeled, but 15 pounds heavier, 20 pounds heavier. So you just don't know. And the thing is, the way Chris presents himself, it's gonna be hard to beat. It's not what you have, it's what you show. So it's quite handy having Joe here because, especially when I'm going to movements that I'm not very familiar with, which is dumbbell press, we've only just reintroduced it back in. The first, I would say 3 to 4 sessions, you are working your weight up, but you are also regaining the skill. Training is a skill, guys. You have to remember that going into any exercise, initially, you have to learn that movement pattern. Now, something like a dumbbell press, RDL, free weight squats, any deadlift variation, takes time to master. And the better you get at it, the more you get from it. Because the more skillful I get at dumbbell press, the more I can get from it. So it takes time to build that skill. One thing that you should all do as well, film your sets, watch them back, send them to your coach, get assessment, get feedback. The beauty of bodybuilding is you can always do better and you can always learn more. This is why I'm a huge advocate of always having mentors and coaches. I always want to be a student of the game. That's what I love about the sport so much. It's always an opportunity to learn and get better. One more rep at a time, one more set at a time, one more session at a time, one day at a time. You know the drill, right now.
Yeah. All right,
The big man's here.
Okay.
This is what I call natural JP.
Spend my session dragging weights around.
Yeah. No. Natural JP for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
Smart, trains really hard, focused. That's what you want.
whenever you can.
But he doesn't wear flip-flops, he wears Vibrams, so
Yeah.
it's always a benefit.
We call them flip-flops because aren't they like Birkenstocks or something?
They actually are, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
They
there we
actually
go.
are. They're made to around your foot. Good?
Yeah, really well, thanks, mate.
Back on the proper split?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. To be fair, like the upper lower was only going to last so long, and it was kind of for a reason, you know.
Yeah, with the shows and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just to get a bit more frequency.
Yeah.
But like already going back to like push 4 off, legs off, it's like every session feels so much more like direct to the point, rather than zigzagging between different things. So I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of it.
I think you could probably make it work, but I think you probably did overcut the volume of it. Because you were doing like 10 exercises.
Of course, yeah, of course. Why would I not?
You know, the next page on the log book, do go.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta sit.
Basically, logbook's just fucking. Right. What you got?
No, it's 5 foot position.
Perfect.
Last week you did 52 to 6.
52 for 7.
So you back off, take a plus 8 kilo increase at the kind of 2.
So, it depends. See, the reason why I'm doing 3 sets of dumbbells is just to develop the skill. So, both of these sets, if I really wanted to, I could have gotten another rep. So I'm specifically putting a rep in the tank because, again, my skill isn't quite there yet. And as you can see, session to session, the reason why I'm able to take large jumps and progression is because power is there, skill isn't. So you have to start with lighter load, then you work your way up. So today, because I was able to take 56s for more reps, more weight than I did last week, significantly, I felt more comfortable. Today I was able to take a heavier set as my second set. But the reason why I will always do a heavier set as my second set when I'm pressing is it's always a lot safer for me going into heavier loads after that initial set is done. If I was to go all out power, all out load for first set, low reps, I would probably be able to do close to 70s today. I don't want to be doing that. Not yet. I want to allow my body to get accustomed to the load. And again, more skill, more time. That way, safer, longer progression long term. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Low. That's all. There you go. One thing you'll notice now is each exercise I go into now, I barely take any warm-up sets. I'm already warm enough. I'm very familiar with this exercise, so I do not need warm-up sets. So the way I approach this now, my working weight is 310 pounds. I do one feeder set of 2 repetitions with 330 pounds. Now, this is what I call a priming set, and this allows me to get prepared for the working set, but handling that higher load will then allow me to go into an actual working set, and that working set actually feels easier. There is multiple ways to skin a cat, right? One thing I'm a massive believer on is 1, not wasting time, but 2, making sure that all the work that you do on the gym floor prior to working sets is productive. So even your warm-up sets, they need to be done with a purpose. Again, that's if you are a nerd and you love training deeply and truly like I do. You find ways to make it better. So progression for this exercise, 5 kilo up, max reps, big progress. Exercise before that, we have taken 10 pounds up, same reps, again huge progression, back off set. We're actually the same weight as last time, again 1 rep up. So overall, massive progression for this session. So off the back of today's session, the goal is going to be doing everything I can to make sure I'm recovered in time for my next push in 5 days time. So that means sleep has to be on point, hydration, meal timing, meals, adherence to my schedule, keeping everything in check, making sure my sleep's good, making sure my environment's good. And again, your diet isn't just what you eat. Your diet is everything you consume. Any negativity you have in your life, whatever it is, cut that shit out. You've got no time to waste in this shit. Bodybuilding is very, very short-lived when you look at your life as a whole. So when you're in it, make sure you're in it. That way, when you get to fine age, you can look back and say you've done everything you could without looking back and having any regrets.
What are you thinking on this? Are you thinking of it as more of a tricep compound?
It is a tricep compound. It's a non-convergent press. It's pretty much heavier in like mid-range. So it's the heaviest here as you start pressing through. Anyone that tells you this is a great chest exercise, probably don't really know what I'm talking about. It's a great tricep exercise. That's about it. I won't really use this for anything else apart from this tricep. If it did converge, then different game. But resistance profile on this and the way it moves, kind of moves in an arc as well. It's an ideal tricep compound. Beautiful. We've got Berry Burst Performance Fuel, 50 grams intra, keeping me fueled, recovered, keeping performance in check. Exactly what we need. Exactly what Dr. Kuba ordered. Just kidding. Yep. Oh.
A bit high up for cable, isn't it?
What do you mean?
It's not, but people will slam it to the bottom, won't they?
Yeah, so the whole point of having my cable pretty much in line with my fist or slightly lower, so it's around midway up my thigh. This way, the resistance is heavy here in the stretch, and then actually drops off as I reach out to the side, which is the whole point now of this exercise. You want the cable heavy here, and you want the drop off here to get the most out of your delt. If you do a cable lateral, you put it at the very bottom, you may as well be doing a dumbbell lateral, because the resistance, there's nothing here, it's all here. So the whole purpose of using a cable is adjusting the resistance profile to match the strength curve of your shoulder. Your shoulder's stronger here, it's weaker here. So it makes sense to utilize a cable in that fashion. Now, behind the back laterals is one of my favorite movements for side delts, just because of the range of motion you can get from it. So cues for this, I love, drive your fist into the ground, and then don't think up, think about reaching out to the side and then up. So scrape your knuckles across the floor and up. Right now, like I've said again many times, training time is special for me, but when you get sessions like today, honestly, it's the best feeling in the world. I get goosebumps actually thinking about today's session. Was that good? Days like today are the ones. Everything feels good. Everything felt light. Progression across the board. Every movement felt perfect. If Carlsberg could make sessions, if every session could be like this, life would be made. Obviously not every session is going to be quite as good as this, but I will always do everything in my power to make sure that my sessions are as close to perfect as they can be. Today, it's probably as close to perfect as it gets, to be honest, from start to finish. So, huge plus. What I can attribute for my session being as good as it is today is, again, ticking the boxes with quality, managing stress, making sure that my work is completed on time, clients are taken care of, all my responsibilities are taken care of, so that I'm heading to the gym with a clear mind, nothing that's outstanding that's left to do, because everything has been tended to. I think that plays a huge role, really does. When you walk through this door here, you want to make sure that any external noise is completely blocked out. So do everything in your power to protect your space and protect your time in the gym. I promise you will get so much more out of the training. What a session. Oh wow, sessions like this are the ones. Some of you can probably relate, some of you cannot. Those of you that cannot, I only wish you find something in your life that gives you the same fulfillment as this gives me. When it comes to bodybuilding, if your why is truly strong enough, so if the reason behind why you bodybuild is strong enough, you will find that the process not only gets easier, but you quite literally love the process day in, day out so much more. And it doesn't matter what phase you're in, off-season, prep, you enjoy it all as much if your why is coming from the right place. I feel like a lot of people struggle at times. It's because one, lack of guidance, two, poor attitude towards the action they're taking and choices they are making when it comes to the process. But I think thirdly, I think your why really has to be strong enough to do bodybuilding, because bodybuilding is not an easy sport. It's mentally challenging and it's physically challenging in its entirety. So if your why is not strong enough, you will always struggle one way or another. And ultimately, it's a choice, right? It should be a passion. It should give you fulfillment. It should make you happy. If something doesn't quite give you that, probably need to reconsider your goals. Write that one down. Right, stretching, and then we'll recap the video. But I think Joe probably needs to eat, so I'll let him eat whilst I do my hanging stretch, just to shut the shoulders off, and a DC deep stretch. And then I'll see you guys in a moment.